Welcome to Mydbops OpenSource Database Meetup 15 recorded live in Bangalore. Mydbops excels in open source database management, offering tailored solutions for MySQL, Postgres, MongoDB, TiDB, Cassandra, and more. Mydbops organizes meetups to facilitate knowledge sharing, networking, and collaboration among professionals in the field of open source database management. Before we delve into this video, we would like to inform you that the recording of Shivji Kumar Jha's insightful presentation on modern database complexities from Mydbops Open Source Database Meetup 15 has been uploaded. You can find the link to the recording in the description below. And now we are very excited to share Vinoth Kanna's insightful presentation on AWS RDS MySQL in 2023. Vinoth Kanna, founding partner at Mydbops, is a MySQL expert driving innovation in database management. With extensive experience, he plays a crucial role in the tech-driven Mydbops team and has delivered insightful speeches at various meetups and conferences. Let's explore the latest features released in AWS RDS MySQL in 2023 and uncover strategies on how to use them in production to achieve enhanced performance and seamless database management.
First of all, I'd like to thank every one of you for joining us today in this database event. We started this database meetups in a motto to spread the awareness of open source, because as we are dealing with lots of databases, so we would like to share our collective experiences. I think that is more valuable to help the open source adoption in the database, right? So because what usually happens is, it is not that technology is bad, it is that usage, right? Sometimes what happens is people not properly use the technology, so they have to migrate to different technology without understanding the core problem of it. So by sharing this collective experiences that we face, that will really increase the open source adoption. That's the pure motto of this meetup, and we are glad to see it happening for this 15th edition of the same, and thanks all of you for joining. And yeah, so today I'm going to discuss about what are the new and interesting features that came up in 2023 in MySQL RDS. So there are various technology in RDS. We're not going to delve into all this given the time. Since we are going to only stick with MySQL ecosystem, what are the new things that are there in MySQL RDS, which you can implement given that you have a use case for. And here is a quick introduction about me. I am Vinoth Kanna. I am the co-founder of Mydbops, and I head the remote database support team at Mydbops. My motto is to make the database management simple and highly scalable. That's a bigger motto. So, so every year we will think that this will be it, but it keeps on growing. Like, what is next? What is next? What more we can do? How we can adopt the AI to enhance the DBaaS capabilities? Okay, so there are more and more things happening year on year, but ideally towards making the goal, right? Database management simple and scalable, right? I myself, MySQL certified and Mongo certified engineer, and I do database for a living. I love open source, especially databases. Since the start of my career, I have been associated with working in databases, and I'm fortunate about that. And I enjoy doing performance optimization and helping clients to scale their database and their applications. And this is what we do at Mydbops. We do consulting services and manage remote DBA services. When you say consulting services, like targeted engagements, like upgrades, or solving any challenges that you have in the database. It can be simple, right? Like, my application is not scaling beyond X threads, or I'm not able to achieve this throughput, or what is the best recommended architecture for us, or do I have to look into various technologies and suggest what is the best suited for us, because we operate on majority of the top open source databases like MySQL, Mongo, Postgres, right, and Cassandra, and TiDB. And in managed services, we handhold our clients 24/7, handling simple requests to architecture-wise complex requests, and to manage their database at scale. Okay. Here is the agenda of today's discussion. So we'll slightly touch upon the introduction to RDS. I don't think so any introduction to RDS is required. But yeah, so we'll just slightly touch upon that. I'd like to highlight few critical points there. And we will go into the features that is released in RDS 2023. And we will go about that in detail. So how many of you are directly involved in creation or of the database into your company, right? Using RDS or creation of RDS? Can you raise your hands? Cool. Users of RDS, like end users, like you can be an application developer or a tester. Good, right? It's good to know. It was launched in 2009, right? It has evolved a lot since then, right? Now, any application who wants to start up their product in AWS, it's a go-to choice. It's supporting 9 different database engines. It has even recently introduced DB2 also in its pipeline in 2023, which is really fascinating. And they are one of the top leaders in database as a service market. Right? There are other database service providers as well. Like every cloud has its own implementation of this. But I could say that AWS is like a clear leader in terms of what they are providing and how they are innovating the stuffs. And especially with MySQL and Postgres, it's really been great. And if you see for the past 18 to 24 months, it has been a wide innovation happening in various aspects of the MySQL to get better and better performance of the databases. So right from, how can I explain this? Like in 2022, they have come up with various features like blue-green deployments, optimized reads, optimized writes, and we are not going to cover this in this today's slides. Like, I'm open to any questions. Like post this presentation, you have any questions on how I can optimize my writes, how I can optimize my reads in RDS, and how the feature helps us in blue-green deployment. We can have that conversation post this session. Let's get into the features that is released in 2023. I will start with group replication. So in 2023, RDS has announced the support for group replication. I was filled with joy, really. And the next important feature is upgradation of the snapshots directly from 5.7 to 8, and dedicated log volume, okay, which plays a major role in the performance. We will get to know why and how. And cross-region backups, right? It's like one of the, which is something people has to do in a other way around. Like they have to find workarounds for each of them to achieve that before. Now RDS is trying to give it just like a feature, right? You can just implement, just enable it and you have it, right? That's the power of the cloud and anything provided as a service, right? And implementation of RDS insights to CloudWatch. You can import the insights, performance insights to CloudWatch and to have a meaningful alerts on top of it. And recently, in 2023, they have introduced M7G and R7G instances backed by Graviton 3 processors. So these are the quick insights. We're going to go in depth about each of the features. So let's start with RDS support for group replication. And as you all know that MySQL can be implemented in various ways. It can be started as a simple service. It can have an asynchronous replication, like multiple copies of the server with a simple transfer of logs. And you can have a semi-synchronous, which is like one more step secure than the replication. And you can have a two-phase commit-based replication topology in MySQL, which is called as group replication. So Shivji was discussing you about like how the two-phase commit works. It's a similar mechanism how the group replication operates, that will have a prepare and commit phase. And there will be one more additional step called as certifications, I would say, right? That can be clubbed into prepare, certify and prepare, and then commit, right? So this is started, this group replication has been there since MySQL 5.7, but it was not an option in RDS before the release of RDS version 8.0.35. Why it is important, right? So any MySQL replication, native replication, or even if you are a user of RDS, if you have a replica, the data is not synchronous between the servers. There will be a lag because the master don't know, the source don't know whether this particular event is applied or will be applied on the replica. So this addresses that problem. This feature addresses the problem, and RDS has introduced in 8.0.35. They have implemented as an active setup. Means that you can have a 3 writer nodes which can be written anytime. And it has its own limitations, but I'm just going to talk about it. And if you have any specific questions to that, we can take it up later. It needs to at least have 3 instances which can be enabled in multi-primary. Yeah, all these 3 nodes can take up writes, which can help to scale out the workload, right? And it can be placed on different, it can follow the sun, they would call it as, right? The active cluster can be maintained on the which place that major workload is going to be. These are the few parameters that you need to enable in the parameter group to enable that feature in RDS. Like it cannot be simply created like how do you create a read replica. It will not work that way. Okay, it is a little bit different. So you have to first generate a UUID and set the group name. Post setting up of the group name, this parameter group has to be uniformly set across the 3 nodes. You are going to make it as a group replication group. Once these variables are set, right, the binlog format and group replication, these variables are set, then you have to go to the nodes and then make it a group. It is like picking up 3 nodes and setting a common parameter group, then calling out relevant functions to make the group replication enabled. So we will start with bootstrapping. When we start the first node of the group, we will start with this first command, like replication start, and the subsequent nodes can be joined with the help of the group replication start 0 as a call function. So all it is important is to use the group replication name. This group replication name, it has to be same. And there is one more variable which is left out in this tabular column, which is called as group replication seeds. Once we fill that with appropriate values, it will auto join into a group. So once this is done, you can have your 3 node cluster set up in RDS with all active. So when the client demands for consistencies, like we saw about acids, right? Acids on the previous presentation from Sivji. So these talk about reading and writing, right? Like read acknowledgement, how many read acknowledgement have to get. So it is very common in a regular replication where they have no control of it. There is a lot of possibility of stale reads. So reading from one place and writing to other is a very huge challenge over there. So for such clients, our only way to recommend them previously is to adopt a clustering technology like group replication or a Galera, or technologies like that. That can be only implemented in VMs. Now we can confidently use the RDS to do that. That is the use of it. And if you have any questions in this particular thing, we can discuss group replication. Yes, we can do, but the idea is here is we have to have a 3 equal instance to be available. So what we can do is we can have 2 replicas created and then break that and then do it, because if you have already existing server with data, right, depending upon the data size, the amount of time it takes to spin up the instance will vary. So you can have a multiple replicas created for it and then break it, and then you can attach it to the parameter group and convert it with a minimal time. Yes, we require downtime for it. Any other questions on that? See, so in group replication, there are two modes, single primary mode and multi-primary mode. In single primary mode, there will be a roles associated with it. Say I am a primary and you are a secondary. Primary, secondary, and this two-phase commit will work. In an active mode, every members are equally can take writes. So whichever node gets the write, it sends the node certification process. It initiates the certification process, right? Once the certification is okay, and it is prepared, and it will be applied. Yes. But ideally, Oracle MySQL recommends to use single primary mode. But yes, multi-primary mode can be configured.
Order is implemented there, and this uses some concept called virtual synchrony. That is a different variable.
So yeah, so the first variable, right, slave preserve commit order. So this commit order is maintained. So we have to turn it on. So what happens is, if you disable that, there is no guarantee that in which order my source is executing and which order my replica is executing. This variable will help you to sequentialize, like as he said, right, to order it and apply it on the same order. Okay, and this is the mandatory for having group replication enabling. Okay. Is there any other doubt on this particular topic? Okay, so if you are using RDS and if you need multi-write support, or you want to scale your writes, or you want to have a stale-free reads, and you can use that and you can try to implement that in your systems. And the next feature I'm going to talk about is snapshot upgrades from 5.7 to 8. Okay, let's discuss why first it is required, right? So anybody know what is snapshot and why it is used in RDS? Can someone? Backups. What do you do with the snapshot? Yes, we can recover it. There is a problem with this, right? 5.7 is end of life now. Right? Any new instance which cannot be created in 5.7 version, which except the last minor version, right? In RDS, older versions is not supported in RDS hereafter. Like in February, last 28 is I think the last date for 5.7 support in RDS. After which there is an extended pricing is there. I will come to that in the later slides, but I will just quickly get to that, right? So if you are running a 5.7 instance, which is going to go end of life, and previously you were running 5.7, now you have upgraded to 8. So both scenarios are common, because since this 5.7 is become end of life on October 2023, okay, there is both ways can happen. Previously you were in 5.7 and recently upgraded to 8, or you are still in 5.7. In this case, yeah, we can upgrade. Yeah, version can also be upgraded. Yeah, so I'm just focusing on snapshots here. I will come to your question at the last of that, because it's a generic, right? It's a major version upgrade. I will come to that later. Okay, this snapshot upgrades helps us to stay in compliant, right? If you, I work for various domains and industries like payment gateways, banks. They demand to have an SLO to recover backup of 5 years, any point of time, within 12 hours. Right? How you can do that? So at the time of requirement, I cannot go back and see that my system is now 8, I cannot upgrade, I cannot spin back my backup. So those are the scenarios that can come. Right? This feature enables you to upgrade your snapshot directly without needing for restore. So previously what you have to do in such cases, you have to spin up the snapshot, upgrade it, again take a snapshot. Right? So RDS also thought that, and they have introduced this feature, no need for restoration. You can just simply take the bring the snapshot and upgrade it to 8 and keep it with you. This will be useful for staying with compliance. That's one of the major purpose of it. So how you can do, you can go to the snapshot and then just upgrade the snapshot, and then if the click of a button, it will be done. And this will be done only for the manual snapshots. And to stay in compliant for RDS especially, always remember that you need to start using the manual snapshot. Depending upon whichever the company or whichever the industry you are in, just get the compliant, what is the compliance from your side, and start taking manual snapshot. Why? Because system snapshot is rotational. System snapshots will get rotated. Okay, which means that the older snapshots will not be available. If you want to have a monthly retention, you want to have a yearly retention, it is must that you take the manual snapshots. And further, you can export it to S3 also. Snapshots can be exported S3, but it is must that you should start having that practice. Or if you don't know, like you have the practice or not, you have to get in touch with your compliance team, whether what is the compliance I need to have in my database. Sometimes that will be a completely ignored idea, right? RDS managing for us, we are happy. That mentality should go away, and it's a shared responsibility. RDS does something, and we have to take care of the other things.
Snapshot upgrade.
Yeah.
Is it a AWS specific feature, or is it like some open source tool can do it and they are integrated there?
No, it's a AWS specific feature. So what we can do, you can spin up this instance and then upgrade it. So that is fine. This is mainly to stay in compliant, right? At the time of a requirement, I don't have to spend a lot of time to get that. Yes. So any questions on this feature? Okay, cool. I'll skip to the next feature. Dedicated log volume. Okay. How many of you know what is transaction log or redo log in database? Or if you know in specific in MySQL also, you can tell. Anybody, anyone? Yes. So it's like to provide the transaction guarantees, these are the components required majorly. So why dedicated log volume, right? So this transaction logs guarantees the transaction consistency, right? In case of my server goes down, right, I have that logged into my transaction logs where I can do the crash recovery. Okay, and this redo logs or transaction logs are used in various ways in various technologies. If you take Oracle, it is used for replication. If you take Postgres, it's used for replication. And in MySQL, we use different, like binary logs we use. But it is there to have a crash safe in MySQL. To be your application crash safe, it is very important to have that redo log enabled and with proper configuration. Okay, it's tunable. The consistency of the redo log can be tunable, and it purely helps you to maintain your data consistency when the crash happens. Yeah, the wall, same. Both are same. We call it redo logs, we call it wall, we call it transaction logs. It's common.
InnoDB logs and replication log are different things.
Yes, in Oracle, if you say it's an archive log.
Right.
So the main problem we see in RDS in the past is everything is put up in a singular disks. Means that your data files, your binary logs, your error logs, slow logs. There are tons of logs in MySQL, to be honest. Audit logs, slow logs, binary logs, redo logs, undo logs, right? So imagine that you need to have to write the data files, you need to have to write all these files, right? Depending upon the configuration, okay. Depending upon your settings or flash policies for these logs, your performance will highly vary. Okay. This is not immediately observable in a small scale systems or the systems with lower concurrency, to be honest. Okay. But when you want to scale at a very high scale, as Mydbops, we are very fortunate that we are able to deal with all such problems at high scale, right? this feature is like a very handy for us. So the only thing that we can do in RDS in the past is to reduce the consistency guarantees by making the lazy flushing of redo log. That is the only solution that we can do in RDS. But if you take an EC2, for example, we can do a lot of things. We can have a dedicated volume. We can spin up, have more disk, right? I can create 3 disks, and I can see my performance schema and see where my IO is staggering, right? It's a binary log, it's a redo log, where my performance is getting IO choked, right? And I can move simply that log to the under volume, which was not an option in RDS. Okay, so RDS is, now I'm feeling that they're doing very rapid innovation and closing the gaps where the people have already, right? Which is one good thing I like about RDS now. So they have implemented this. Now you can able to segregate your transaction logs into a dedicated volume. This is going to give you at least 10 to 15% boost in your write. Simply enabling this, no other magic. Just enable this, you get 10 to 15% hike on high concurrency. But if your concurrency, if you're no contention on the redo log, you will not see the difference. And you don't complain me that you have said 10% spike will be there, and there is no other variations I could see, because you are not getting choked on that. If you are choked on that, this will give you a good boost. Okay, and it has some limitations on its own. Like what is that is, the disk needs to be in provisioned IOPS mode, which is IO1, and it has to be a minimum of 1000 GB fixed size volume. With that only, you can able to have this feature enabled. Why I'm highlighting, right? You may be running with this lower storage, right? By upgrading to reach that minimum requirement for that dedicated redo log, right? You need to spend some additional cost to procure like higher capacity storage. That is the only caveat here, which I have referred on my note.
So my additional volume should have 1 TB.
No, not additional volume. The volume, the database volume should be of minimum of 1 TB, and the storage type should be IO1.
Storage size also?
Yeah, storage size should be minimum of 1 TB to enable it. Okay, then only, so it's a feature like for those instances where the provisioned IOPS storage is 1 TB or more, we'll get an option to enable that. That is the limitation here. Any questions on this? Good. Yeah. So this is a minor version upgrades. Okay. So they have improved a lot on this. I have seen various places where the minor versions are not carried out at all. The one good thing about RDS is like it will put a knife on your throat. If you don't do it, it automatically upgrades. It is very hard to skip such upgrades. Client will come to us and say that my system is restarting. You have enabled auto upgrade, so it will automatically upgrade. If the feature is enabled in the configuration, it auto upgrades. Okay, but majority, right? They say that I don't want downtime, and they disable that option, and they never upgrade, right? The main concern they will tell us is like I don't have the downtime to perform the upgrades. And they're closing out the gap here. So previously, it will take, there is an option in called as multi-AZ, where they claim that within 60 seconds or 35 seconds, they can reduce that cutover time. The multi-AZ is nothing but spinning a parallel instance. There will be a shadow instance will be there. Any upgrades or anything will be done on that shadow instance. Then that is brought up and then applied on the old server. That's how it works. But that's a passive multi-AZ. Now we have a readable multi-AZ cluster. Multi-AZ cluster means like a same multi-AZ concept. Instead of regular async replication, it uses a semi-sync replication to handle it. It is called as a multi-AZ readable cluster. So there will be 3 instances in the multi-AZ cluster. With that approach, that upgrades can be triggered, minor version upgrades can be triggered in 1 second. The failover time is very, very minimal. So this is how the multi-AZ will be. There will be multi-AZ writer, multi-AZ reader 1, reader 2, and RDS proxy. It's all our RDS components. So what RDS proxy does is, I will just explain you the steps and then I will come here. So in this readable multi-AZ uses semi-synchronous replication. That's one step better than the regular async replication. And when we initiate the upgrades, it will be applied on the reader 1. It is next applied on the reader 2. Once the readers are upgraded, it will automatically promote it to master, as a master, and the minor version is carried out on the reader. Throughout all these events, your application will face just only 1 second blip to cut over that connection to changing that endpoint in the MySQL proxy. So MySQL proxy makes that seamless to the application. So RDS proxy is nothing but it maintains connection pool and it will route the connections to the respective member of the cluster. It's a router. It's like a load balancer, I would call it as a bit specific load balancer for databases, especially in RDS. There are many other load balancers. I can talk about that lot like Proxy SQL, Max Scale. But this RDS proxy is purely meant for RDS instances for MySQL. And this can help you to seamlessly cut over from one instance to other. Imagine a matter of a second, you can able to cut over. So your downtime can be very, very minimal. So you don't have any excuses for skipping the minor version upgrades now. Any questions around this part, like how RDS has improved their failover time to 1 second? This can be only done for multi-AZ readable cluster.
For that dedicated log volume, when you move from normal MySQL to dedicated log volume, you have a downtime or you can use something like this to avoid?
See, dedicated log volume can also be implemented. So there are few limitations on it, like when the instance has to be created. If it's a very old instances beyond November 2022, some things cannot be created. Like there will be specific limitations. If you are running older instances of MySQL, I would recommend to use blue-green to switch it. Blue-green is like you can spin up the new instances in another environment. It's a feature that is released in 2022. You can use that and seamlessly cut over to the new environment. That is the better approach, I would say. Yes. Then it is seamless. You can enable it.
But they would have to take it down and reconfigure it.
Yes, because redo log file change, right? It's a directory change. They have to restart the instance. It is required. Yes. Yes. RDS proxy handles two things. One is that topology identification for RDS, right? It can be a multi-AZ cluster, regular replication, it will be understanding. Group replication, what I was talking about earlier, it is not yet compatible with that. They are still, I think it will come up in future, but not yet compatible. But yes, regular replication and a multi-AZ cluster, it is supporting. It has two functions, understanding the RDS topology and routing it. And second thing is that maintaining a healthy connection pool and route the connections. So your application can establish tons of connections to proxy, but can still have a limited connection of the database, which will help you to have a good performance in the database. So this is done. The next thing we will proceed to is the performance insights export to CloudWatch. So have anybody got a chance to view what is performance insights? Anybody? No? Yeah, can you please tell how it is, how you are using that? So RDS provides two types of monitoring. I'm not talking about general open source or any proprietary systems. I'm just purely focusing on the point of AWS. So RDS gives you two important observability metrics. One is the CloudWatch metrics, and another one is the performance insights. CloudWatch will give you statistics about like connections, storage, IOPS, blah, blah, blah. Performance insights will give you internals load weights on queries, what is the calls of the queries, what's the response time of the queries. You can easily distinguish that. Right? This is usage. This is the how it is used. Yes, yes, obviously. There is only if there is something exposes, then they can display it. They make it easy and simple to common people to use it, right? That's the benefit of using the performance insights. So as I told you, two major observability metrics will be provided by RDS. One is the CloudWatch metrics, and second is the performance schema. In the performance schema, we will not be able to create alerts. See, for example, only based on the usage, like CPU, or these are the after effects, right? See, which causes the CPU to spike? Queries. They are the source. So how we monitor previously, right? We used to monitor only the effects. CPU, load, memory. Performance insights are the cause. Can help to identify the cause. Which query has caused it? What has caused it? What has caused to the CPU spike? But unfortunately, we were not able to enable any alerting on that. Right? With the introduction of this, we can able to export all our performance schema insights to CloudWatch. By doing that, we can able to trigger alarms. Okay, that will help us to get to the cause of the issue and focus on the resolution immediately. Right? My weight is increasing. Okay, and in 2022, they have also introduced something called as DevOps Guru. Why is that used? To detect an anomaly. Okay, how my system was behaving in a normal time, and how my system is behaving now, and you can see that if my load weights are getting increased to X, then trigger. Then it will compare for the normal time and the given set of 15 minutes time, and it will give you recommendations. Okay, so this export will be helpful to trigger alert and can be helpful to detect the anomaly on the cause section. Not only on the effect section. Effect section, it's already there. Like CPU memory or whatever the metrics that you have, you can able to do that. This can help you to set up alert on the cause.
So does performance insight also contain things like replication lag and everything?
No, that comes under the metrics, right? The status metrics, all the status metrics, right? That can be taken up in the CloudWatch. This is whatever that is insights available from the performance schema. They are putting performance schema putting in the performance insights.
Lag, right? Seconds behind master lag kind of thing. That's also performance insight only, right? Internally to database. CloudWatch has nothing to do with it. Database.
I see, but the cause I'm talking about. See, for example, replication lag is not a cause, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking from the point of view of alerting that you mentioned. I would want to have that in CloudWatch.
Yes. That can be replication lag is there from the start in the RDS. That metrics is available in the CloudWatch where you can already configure alert. This gives you further capabilities to set up an alert on the cause itself. That is the beauty of it. Any questions on this particular part? So some sample examples, like this is how the performance schema will be, where the commit average. Now they also introduced a single pane reporting. Previously, CloudWatch has to go and see in a different dashboards and performance metric to be seen in a different dashboards. Now they have combined everything into a single pane so that it is easy to navigate and things. And implementation of right monitoring can help you to solve a lot of problems. Okay, so this is, I feel that this is one of the useful feature. And the one more feature I'm going to talk about is a cross-region automated backups. Why you require a backup across region? Can anybody tell me?
Because if the backup is in the same region and the sort of region blows up, then I don't have that instance.
Yes, correct. Any other reason?
Cross region, I don't want to replicate because too much lag.
Correct. Correct. Exactly. So two things, right? Any application should also plan for a disaster recovery. That is very important because we have seen outages even in the big clouds, right? I don't want to name them, but we have seen outages even in the cloud sector. So it is good that you should have some capabilities on the DR part. And This cross-region backups will help you to replicate your backups, not the database. Replicate your backups from one region to another, and you can maintain that. So in old school, how we do, right? We have to set up a cross-region replication. Replication is not a simple thing, right? You have to maintain the synchronicity, as he said, and you need to bear the cost of operation, right? And what people will do in the old school days is we have to reduce the instance configuration on the DR to reduce the cost. But what is the problem with that, reducing the cost, is sometimes it will not catch up. It will not have enough resources to catch up the incoming data. So we have to struggle a lot with these problems, right? Once we have our SLAs for DR recovery, for example, if you have for the DR recovery, you have 4 hours time, right? And if you can able to spin the snapshot, database instance from a snapshot in 15 minutes, it is best that you can replicate the backups and have it safe. So that's how this is a very powerful feature and can be incorporated in a lot of clients. And if you have similar use cases, definitely I would recommend you to try that. And point-in-time recovery is also possible using this.
So even like the recovery is possible cross-region or the backup is possible cross-region?
See, both is possible. You can also replicate the data live. But the problem is you have to have that cost associated. You have to bear the cost. Not instance cost. If you want to replicate, you want to have a live instance there on the DR. If you're not going to have an active DR, so people use it active DR and passive DR. If you're not going to have an active DR, then what's the point of running that instance for so long time? Then what you will do, you will downscale the instance. Sometimes downscaling will also have a negative impact that it will not be able to catch up to the source. So these are the problems, and this will help you. This can help you to simplify the requirement to satisfy the DR requirement. Right? You can simply say that my snapshots are copied every day, and my transaction logs are copied in this 15 minutes every day. So I am safe, right? Any point of time, my DC, the entire DC goes down. I'm safe. I can able to spin up in 15 minutes. So that is the guarantee it provides. Any questions around this? Yeah, please. This is mostly to the automated backups. I have to verify that. But usually snapshot can be migrated. Manual snapshot can be migrated to the other regions. This is for the automated backups. And introduction to 7 series Graviton. So in this 7 series Graviton, we will be having a Graviton 3 processors, which they claim 30% performant, and this will improve your cost by 27%. What it means, right? There's a tricky term they use for marketing, but it's my responsibility to decode it for you. Okay, so they said 27% cost, and if you just upgrade it and say, where is my 27%, don't ask me that. What they're claiming is that by increasing your performance to 30%, you may not be requiring that beefy instances that you are currently running. You can downscale it. That's what they mean. Okay. Yes. ARM based. So Graviton 2, and this is Graviton 3. And this is supported from 8.0.28. And we would recommend it for all the deployments. You can see a lot of blogs on how it helps and benchmarks on this Graviton 3 based processors. And if you're running already on Graviton processor, it's very simple for you to adopt. So if someone is running an Intel processor, they will do the benchmarks before going to Graviton and other stuffs. Given the cost benefit of it, we are recommending to use Graviton instances for RDS MySQL, because it gives you value for money. Okay. Any questions around this? And I like to highlight this. These are the version releases. You can ask me why it is important. So what is there in it? I like to highlight one important aspect of it. So whenever MySQL releases, then RDS has to release that version. So that's how the SaaS will work, right? So the owners has to release that, then the other adapters will have to adopt it and then release their own SaaS offering. That's how it should work. Previously, the time it takes to release a version in RDS is very, very huge. Now it has really reduced. The current version is 8.0.36 and RDS has up to 8.0.35. Okay, so within 3 months of the release from Oracle, we are getting the release in RDS, which is a best thing, right? And that will also give RDS some time in case of if there is any bug, they have their development team to address that also. So that's how I like this release note. So you can see that they are making very consistent release now. And the innovation releases are also available in RDS. And yes, the next big release of MySQL will happen. The GA of MySQL will happen on around the last quarter of 2024. I hope that will give you one more major version to upgrade in this year. And just highlighting points here. 5.7 will be marked, is end of life already by MySQL on October 2023. And it will be marked as end of life by Amazon, AWS RDS by February 29, means that if you want to run your 5.7 instance, beyond this point, you have only two options. One option, if you are not running a current last version of 5.7, you have to upgrade to the last version of 5.7. That is the first requirement. Second requirement, to stay in 5.7, you need to pay premium to RDS. That is the second requirement. Okay, so what is the charges? Is $0.114 per vCPU per hour. You may feel that it seems to be very low for me. It's $0.1. I'll just give you a quick calculation how it is. So imagine, right, nobody is running a single instance of MySQL. If you're running, please talk to me. I will explain you why it is not advisable. Okay, and minimum they can have one replica or two replicas. If we consider one master with 64 CPU and one replica with 16 CPU, it averages up to it is up to 96 CPU, and daily cost will be $260 and monthly cost will be $7,879. If you're running a decent sized company with decent QPS, if you're running this setup, you will be asked to pay per month just for maintenance of the old version, which is not at all required. In case if you are having troubles in upgrading to MySQLite, please do let us know. We can handhold and guide you to upgrade your servers. Okay? Because this is so exorbitant when you think of it in a real scale. But if you check the manual, you will see this, right? Per vCPU per hour is 0.1. You can feel that it is 0.1, but when you do the actual math, you can see the velocity. Like, I can easily relate to myself, like we have seen companies like using 64 CPUs of 5.7 still. So we are forcing them to upgrade because it is not worth it. It's not worth to run in 5.7, right? Because the 1 month cost you are going to spend, you can spend that to upgrade your systems. This is a recurring cost for you. And they are highlighting that this is applicable for year 1 and year 2. From year 2, that will be doubled. 2 to 8. Okay. So any questions on this particular part? Cool. So along with this, as I told, right, there's rapid development happening in RDS, especially in MySQL space. Okay. In 2024, not even a month, in 1 month, we have got another feature, multi-source replication, which is possible only in EC2s before. Now it can be done in the RDS as well. So what I'm feeling is that AWS is closing all their gaps, trying to close all their gaps, which is a very positive sign. And if you want to discuss about anything about your production use case, or you have a specific problem in database, especially in MySQL, I will be there post this talk, and you can discuss with me. We can try to solve your problems by providing meaningful suggestions. And even if you have any questions in this talk or anything, you can ask me now. Good, all good. I hope I clarified some of your doubts in the middle of the talk itself. And thank you so much for attending and staying this patient on a Saturday. And thanks for giving your time for us. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining us for this insightful session from IDBOps Open Source Database Meetup 15. We hope you found this presentation very valuable. Stay connected with us by subscribing to our channel for more informative content. We invite you to join us at our next event to continue learning and networking with professionals in the field of open source database management.